Design creates culture, culture shapes values. Values determine the future. This is a quote by Robert Peters, and just one way design can be defined. Another way would be to say, design contains problems with shapeless borders that are at times impossible to find and at other times rather straightforward to understand. We all have our different definitions of design, and each are good for certain situations. However, when looking at the bigger picture, I believe Paul Rand has the closest definition of the truth. Design is the method of putting form and content together. Design is so simple. That's why it's so complicated. One of the reasons I want to be a designer is because of the unclear boundaries it has. They allow you to push and test just how far you can take design. However, it's important to acknowledge the values we stand for as a designer. For me, the most important two are flexibility and awareness. I define flexibility as the ability to move through a problem and obstacles while learning from each experience. It forces you to continue stretching your imagination by problem solving and finding a way to make the most out of every situation. Like Victor Margolin says, designing is an activity that is constantly changing, so that means you have to be changing too. One of the most flexible designers I know is Chris Downey. He is an architect, planner, and consultant who lost his sight in 2008. He made the best of his situation and now can give insight that hardly anyone else can. He gave a TED Talk in 2013, and one of his quotes that really stuck out to me was, "Immediately, I was struck by an incredible sense of fear, of confusion, of vulnerability, like anyone would. But as I had time to stop and think, I actually started to realize I had a lot to be grateful for. So, by the time I was discharged from the hospital a few days later, I left with a mission to get out and get the best training as quickly as I could and get on to rebuilding my life. Within 6 months, I had returned to work." His attitude, if nothing else, should be motivation enough to work through any situation you are placed in. If he can make the most of his situation, then you can make the most out of any situation you're put into. Awareness is another one of my values. For me, awareness is the ability to observe what is around you, make connections, and learn from your surroundings. This includes recognizing problems that need to be solved and who needs them solved. Some quotes I found that helped define awareness are, "Design must be the bridge between human needs, culture, and ecology. No design works unless it embodies ideas that are held in common by the people from whom the object is intended. The element of compassion translates, in the first instance of design, to a perception concerning the pain of others and the ability of the designer to relieve that pain. A person who I believe is very much in touch with the natural surrounding is Andy Goldsworthy. After watching his documentary, Rivers and Tides, I had a completely new view on nature and working with it. Some of the most powerful things that he said were, nature is in a state of change, and that change is the key to understanding. And, I haven't simply made the piece to be destroyed by the sea. The work has been given to the sea as a gift, and the sea has taken the gift and made it more than I could ever hoped. I have many other values that I live by, and the list grows every day, but those two are the most important to me right now when I design. A lot of my values, as you might have noticed, have been realized and inspired by quotes. By looking and thinking about those words, I come to understand more about myself and who I want to be. With that said, I will leave you with a couple quotes that might inspire you and help shape the values you find important. "The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the things that you did do. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from the safe harbor, and catch the trade winds in your sails. Explore, dream, discover."